Hi, this is Becky Labar. I'm doing my speech on distracted driving, which is my plea to not text and drive. My speech here is going to start with a story, and this story involves my 17-year-old son, Nathan. When Nathan started driving when he was 16, here about a year ago, he went to the store for me to get some items, with a list to get some items. And on his way to the store, I had realized I left a couple of items off, so I thought I'll just call him, leave a message. He'll get the message when he gets to the store. However, he answered the phone. So my first question was, Nathan, are you driving? And he said, yes, Mom, I am. And I said, why did you answer the phone? He said, well, Mom, you get mad at me when I don't answer the phone. You know how teenage boys can be. They may not always answer the phone. So we had that conversation. However, I said the conversation of not talking on the phone while you're driving trumps the other conversation. So yes, I want my son to be alive for a very long time. So we had that conversation and told him, anytime the phone rings or you get a text message, you wait till you get safely somewhere before you look at that. The problem is our world is full of technology. This little thing takes over our lives, whether it's texting, talking, whatever on the phone. This is where everybody is. And one of the main places that people are on this is in the car. You have some freedom, you have some free time, and it's just habit to pick up that phone. So the worst thing to do is to be a distracted driver. A distracted driver is someone who has any kind of distractions that's taking them away from driving. So whether that be the cell phone, putting on your makeup, eating in the car, playing with the radio, or another big one is the GPS system. People tend to punch in an address as they're driving. All these factors definitely distract the driver. However, the texting, the cell phone, is one of the worst. Anytime there's an accident, we automatically think, I hope they weren't texting. I hope they weren't talking on the phone. And unfortunately, a lot of times it's true. 10% of drivers that are 15 to 19 years old that are involved in fatal car crashes is due because of a cell phone. That's one of the statistics I found in my research. Also, in one of the other articles I read, the National Safety Council estimated that 23% of all car crashes every year involve a cell phone, whether that be teenagers or adults. 1.2 million is due to talking on the phone, and 100,000 of those is due to texting on a cell phone. So they're both equally as bad. They both take you away from the road. We tell teens not to do this. However, I think in their mind, and a lot of the research showed that a lot of them said, it only takes a few seconds. I can just quick look at my phone. It's not going to take me away from the road very long. 5 seconds away from looking at the road, if you're going 55 miles an hour, 5 seconds is the equivalent of driving on a football field, the length of the football field, blindfolded. So think about how long it takes to get across the football field. You're on the highway that long, not seeing what's going on. The sad statistic is that 11 teenagers die every day in the United States due to texting and driving. 11. I was pretty amazed by that. So because of that, I do want to show you a short video. It's a little dramatic. It's a little graphic, but I think if more teens saw this, it would really get the point across. So here we go. Let's see if I can get that in there.
How many letters? 5 letters. Just think about, what am I doing right now? Smile. Smile? Uh-huh. This is so easy.
Now, that girl literally, that girl literally just glanced down at her phone and sent a quick text message back to somebody. That's what can happen, and that's the truth. And I don't think many people realize that. Like I said, adults and teens. 82% of teens have cell phones. 52% of them admitted in a survey that they talk and drive all the time. 32% admit that they text and drive. So those are just the ones that are admitting it. I'm sure there's other ones who are denying that they do that. One of the statistics showed that you are 6 times more likely to get in an accident if you're texting, 6 times more than if you were drunk driving. That statistic is amazing to me. So, why are kids or even adults, why are they still doing it? If they know how bad it is and how dangerous it could be, why are they still doing it? Well, all you have to do, is look at the TV, because nobody knows why they're still doing it. Some people say it's an addiction. Some people say it's just, I just have to look. What if my friend texted me and I miss it? Well, you can miss it and you can text them back when you get to where you're going. There's stories after stories out there. All you have to do is look on the internet. You can see multiple stories of families pleading others not to text and drive, not to talk on the phone and drive. There's a story of a 16-year-old girl who texted her friend, "I'll be right there." And that's the last thing she ever did. She looked away to say, "I'll be right there," and died in a car crash. There's a story of a 20-year-old boy who was texting his girlfriend and having a fight on the text message with his girlfriend. And he ran into a mother of 3 who was on her way to soccer practice and killed her. And now he's spending the rest of his life in jail. There's a story of a 55-year-old truck driver who picked up the phone, was dialing his wife to call and wish her a happy birthday. Simple thing. But as he looked up, he was running into the back of a car filled with a family. And that family was killed because that truck driver looked away from the road for a minute. How many truck drivers are on the road? There's a lot. And, we think they're safe. Most of the time they are, but it happens, and it happens in a second. 98% of adults say they know how dangerous it is to text and drive. However, 49% admit to doing it anyway. Many adults are on the go. They're in the car, and I know an example even for myself. I'm in the car, my kids aren't there, it's quiet time, and it's time that I can catch up with friends or with my family. If I need to call somebody, if I call my mom, it's time that I have time to do that, because as soon as I get home, things happen. My kids need me for something. I need to start dinner. So I understand why so many people do it, and like I said, I'm guilty as well. My final story goes back to my son. Here we go. One day, and this wasn't too long ago, because I will tell you that I'm guilty of texting and driving too. So I'm not sitting here to preaching to everybody. I need to hear it too. We were driving one day in the car, and I got a text message, and I had a text message I had been waiting for, and I glanced down at my phone to look at it. And I thought, okay, I'll quick respond. It'll take me 2 seconds to do that. As I did that, my son's sitting in the passenger seat, and I glanced down. I did the quick text message. When I looked up, their cars in front of me were all stopped. Something had happened. Everybody stopped. I slammed on my brakes and literally missed the car in front of me by inches. My son then looked at me, and he said, "Mom, what have you told me about texting and driving? We could have been killed." And the look on his face and the thought of that just devastated me. And I thought, I need to hear it too. We need to all remind each other that it's not worth it, that missing that text message for 10 minutes and getting back to them in 10 minutes is better than not getting back to them at all. So everybody needs to stay safe, remind each other, texting and talking on the phone while driving can wait. Thank you.